So we usually don't talk about international incidents, but this is a very, um, very big thing that's happened before in Afghanistan. The Taliban basically taking over Afghanistan, um, and how it fell really within a week. Afghanistan literally fell in a week. Half of the country fell in a week. Nearly 30 provinces fell in a week, the same as 30 counties here. And the Afghanistan army, not the Taliban, the Afghanistan army, the Afghanistan government, legitimate government of Afghanistan, the Afghanistan army, 300,000 strong or something like that, um, just disintegrated in a week, just fell into bits in a week. And people do, and many people did ask me, what did they take? Because the United States has been there since 2001, 21 years nearly. And obviously they trained and give money and weapons. The United States and NATO and other countries give huge resources to the Afghanistan government and the Afghanistan military, in weapons and in every kind of thing, air support, in planes and everything. The US has spent billions and billions and billions and billions training these people, giving them ammo, giving them guns, giving everything they need to fight the Taliban. And in the week it just came crashing down. Now, I can't say that when I heard that the United States was pulling out, I didn't think Afghanistan would just fall straight away to the Taliban. It's actually extraordinary how quick they took Afghanistan. That they actually just crashed within a week, because there's 300,000 supposed to be Afghan army soldiers, and there was only 75,000 Taliban supposed to be. Um, Again, that's you outnumbered them. You far outnumbered them, and then you have an air force too. It just literally collapsed. Everything just collapsed, even though it outweighed the number of Taliban soldiers. Um, so first of all, the United Nations, the UK, and the United States. I understand why they pulled out. I understand they don't want to risk any more of their soldiers, and it's costly on them. Um, but two, because again, the Taliban is a dangerous threat to Western democracies. And the same is because again, there's one or two that's are terrorists and are danger to society, danger to the Western world. Um, and they should have stayed in there to keep stability, because again, they wouldn't have fell if either the United Kingdom soldiers stayed or the United States soldiers, especially the United States soldiers, because there was so many United States soldiers in Afghanistan. There's only 500 British soldiers there at any given time. Um, but if one of the armies were there, it probably would have lasted a long time. But if you asked me, when they did mention, because President Trump did say, well, he did arrange the whole pullout of the Afghanistan and everything like that. But he didn't. I say Donald Trump would have kept a good bit of a force there, or would have intervened when he seen Afghanistan was going. Joe Biden basically, I don't know what Joe Biden did. He just kind of, I think he was delusional. I suppose I was delusional too, because it's extraordinary how quick the country fell. And then the president going into exile, the president of Afghanistan. I would have said he should have stayed with these people and fought for the city of Kabul, because they just walked in. They literally just walked into Kabul. No assistance from the majority of the army, or from him. No assistance at all. Um, but yeah, again, looking back, one situation I look back onto is the Congo, the Irish soldiers in the Congo, and there was 150 of them, against 35,000 native Africans around them, way outnumbered, in Javasville. And they still fought until every last bullet, and none of them died, and they fought very hard. And they made their stand. But again, the Afghanistan army just disintegrated into nothing. They didn't make any stand, they just disintegrated. Now, I know people have pointed out 69,000 of them died. But again, it doesn't show, that they made a huge stand. Because again, it should have lasted. I thought they would last. They were showing hands when I heard the Taliban was making a move, was capturing cities and towns. I said they probably would last another year or two at most, and then the United States Army probably go back in. Because eventually we all know probably they will go back in, the United States Army. They probably will go back and be another 2001 to be sent back in along with NATO. Because something will happen. We all know one of them is going to get through an airport or something like that, and it's going to cause trouble. But yeah, it's really, at the end of the day, this is where America's fought above anybody else. It's America's fault. Because I think Joe Biden and the West, they should have knew from the intelligence of the CIA and the FBI and their intelligence in MI6 and MI5 that the Afghanistan army, I don't know what it was, because it wasn't the weapons or anything like that. They had unlimited probably ammo and ammunition because the Americans were paying for it. The taxpayer in America was flipping the bill for it. So they had all the best equipment in the world. The United States Army probably gave them everything they needed to wage war against the Taliban. And it just collapsed. It just literally collapsed. Like, I don't understand. I really, really don't understand it. If that was in Ireland, take for example, if there was some group in Ireland, even though there's only 8,000 Irish soldiers, I'm sure they would fight and would basically not give any ground. Basically just fight for every bit of ground. Especially when they reached Dublin, say for example they landed in Galway and made their way towards Dublin. I say every Irish soldier would have basically stood their ground and never surrendered. And to make them bleed for the city, I suppose, let's put it that way. But Kimball, they just walked in. They literally just walked in. I was actually watching here. I was doing things at the same, writing things up. And I was watching Sky News because it was interesting everything happening, especially when I heard they were outside the gates of Kabul. They were only, you're basically outside the city gates, if you may use that. And I basically seen the Sky News reporter, the Taliban coming in. You're walking in the doors of the city. With no assistance whatsoever, no government now, no members of the army, the police, or anybody trying to stop them, or trying to put any kind of resistance against them. And it is a shame that it has come to that, especially 21 years, and I do agree with a lot of Royal Marine soldiers in the British Army, a good lot of them in the British Army, that in the end of the day it was all for nothing because the Taliban is back in power and is back in control. And so many of them have lost people. I think over 2,000 British soldiers lost their lives there, and I think it was nearly 4,000, 5,000 American soldiers throughout them 21 years. Along with Belgium and Netherlands and Denmark, other NATO countries, lost soldiers in the Afghanistan war. And obviously that does come to, I do say this straight, that I don't recognise the Taliban as the official government of Afghanistan because obviously they overthrew an elected government. And I don't recognise a government that's been overthrown, a government that's overthrown another government. Especially with military force too, killing innocent people, hurting innocent people, damaging property, things like that. Causing fear. Again, as you see, people are terrified in Afghanistan. And I do say this straight, and something we do take for granted over here is that we have an education, and I do feel for young girls, and I'll be totally honest with young girls and young boys, having an education because they don't like any children getting an education. And again, it's everybody's right to have an education, have some kind of an education. Even might not be the best education, is some kind of education, and particularly women too. Women's role in society too is we don't know what could happen there. But I do say that please God, things were sorted out. Hopefully the Taliban, hopefully they don't cause any more harm to anybody. Please God, they don't. But we can only pray. We can only hope. Anyway, take care, everybody. Be safe out there and bye.